There is a 4-bedroom detached Victorian house 22 miles from Manchester city centre right now. Bay windows on 2 floors. Original fireplaces in 3 rooms. A cast iron staircase that has been standing since 1887. A garden of 80 feet running down to a stone wall at the back. The asking price is £34,000. It has been on the market for 14 months. In that time, 2 people came to view it. Neither made an offer. 22 miles from one of the largest cities in England. 14 months. No offers. That house is on this list. So are 9 others. 10 detached properties within an hour of Manchester city centre, Victorian villas, stone cottages, converted farmhouses, detached bungalows with private gardens, all of them sitting on the market with price tags that make no sense until you understand the places they are in. Prices from £27,000 to £84,000. Numbers that look like they were entered by someone who added a 0 too few. We're going to walk through every one of them. The house, the land, the street, the town, and the honest reason the price is what it is. The last property on this list has been for sale for 19 months. The reason nobody has bought it yet is not what you would expect. Stay with us. Number 1. Rochdale, Greater Manchester, £34,000. Rochdale is 12 miles north of Manchester city centre and is, technically, part of Greater Manchester. It sits in the Rock Valley where the Pennines begin their rise to the east, and on a clear day the moorland above the town is visible from the end of most streets. The town centre has a Grade 1 listed town hall that architects travel from other countries to photograph. The cooperative movement, the principle that businesses could be owned by their workers and customers rather than by shareholders, was founded in Rochdale in 1844, and the original Rochdale Pioneers shop on Toad Lane is still there, still a museum, still telling the story of an idea that changed how economies can work. The property is the Victorian house from the introduction. For bedrooms, 2 stories, bay windows front and rear on both floors. Built in 1887 when the cotton mills were running and the money from them was finding its way into the housing stock. The kind of house that was built to demonstrate permanence, thick walls, high ceilings, rooms of a proportion that modern builders do not attempt because the material costs would be prohibitive. Inside, an entrance hallway with the original tiled floor in a geometric pattern of black and white and terracotta. A sitting room to the left with a bay window and a cast iron fireplace with its original surround. A dining room behind it with a second fireplace. A kitchen at the back that was updated 20 years ago and is functional without being modern. Upstairs, for bedrooms, the largest with a bay window overlooking the front garden, the second with a fireplace of its own. A bathroom, partially updated. The garden runs 80 feet from the back of the house to a stone wall at the boundary. Lawn, a border along the left side, a paved path from the back door to the bottom of the garden. Beyond the wall, a lane, and beyond the lane, open ground. The centre of Manchester is 25 minutes by tram from Rochdale station. The Metrolink service runs regularly and reaches Manchester Piccadilly without changing. From Manchester Piccadilly, the rest of the country opens up. The price is £34,000 because Rochdale carries an economic history that its house prices have never fully escaped. The mills closed. The jobs contracted. The town centre struggled. Parts of Rochdale have deprivation levels that sit in the bottom 10% nationally. The house did not cause any of that. The house has been standing since 1887 and will be standing long after the economic statistics have changed again. For bedrooms, original fireplaces, bay windows on 2 floors, 25 minutes from Manchester city centre by tram, £34,000. Number 2, Bacup, Lancashire, £27,000. The lowest price on this list, £27,000 for a detached house. In England, with a garden, 18 miles from Manchester. Bacup sits at the top of the Rossendale Valley, where the road from Rochdale climbs over the moors and drops into a narrow valley hemmed in by millstone grit hills on every side. It is one of those towns that the Pennines made possible and the Pennines made difficult. The hills provided the fast-flowing streams that powered the early mills, and the hills also meant that when the mills went, there was nowhere obvious to go and nothing obvious to replace them with. The town has around 14,000 people and a high street that is trying, with limited resources, to remain a high street. The property is a detached stone cottage at the edge of the town, where the terrace streets give way to larger plots and the houses begin to stand on their own. This one has stood on its own since it was built in 1901. Stone walls, a slate roof, a chimney at each gable end, a front garden with a low stone wall and a gate. At the side, a passageway leading to the back garden, which is the best part of the property, a garden of 65 feet by 30, entirely private, enclosed on 3 sides by stone walls that are original to the house and that give the garden the particular stillness that only stone can create. Inside, downstairs, a living room with a stone fireplace, not decorative, functional, with a wood-burning insert fitted 5 years ago, a dining kitchen at the back with a door onto the garden. Upstairs, 3 bedrooms and a bathroom. The bathroom was updated in 2018 with a new suite. The kitchen was fitted in 2015. Gas central heating, double glazing in timber effect frames throughout. Bacup is 18 miles from Manchester, but the journey by road takes 35 minutes on a good run over the moors. Rochdale, for miles down the valley, has a larger town centre and a Metrolink terminus connecting to Manchester in 45 minutes. The price is £27,000. For a detached stone cottage with a walled garden, a wood-burning stove, and a bathroom updated in 2018, 18 miles from Manchester. The stone walls of the garden have been standing since 1901. The price is £27,000. Number 3, Wigan, Greater Manchester, £41,000. Wigan is 17 miles west of Manchester and is the kind of town that people make jokes about until they visit and discover that the jokes belong to a version of the place that stopped existing 40 years ago. The pier that George Orwell wrote about, the one that gave his book its title and became the shorthand for northern industrial decline, was not actually a pier. It was a coal-loading jetty on the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. The canal is still there. The jetty is a heritage attraction. The town around them has been reinventing itself for longer than most, and parts of it have reinvented themselves successfully. The property is a detached chalet bungalow on a quiet residential close on the southern edge of town. A chalet bungalow, the kind of house where the ground floor contains all the main living accommodation and the first floor, tucked under the roof, provides additional bedroom space with dormer windows in the roofline. This one has 3 bedrooms, 2 on the ground floor and 1 in the roof space with a dormer window looking out over the back garden. The house was built in 1971 and sits on a generous plot, larger than the close around it because it occupies the corner position, which gives it garden on 2 sides. The front garden has a driveway for 3 cars and a lawn. The side garden, which is the one that catches the afternoon sun, is 30 feet by 40, entirely enclosed by a closeboard fence, with a timber deck outside the back door and a lawn running to a garden shed at the far end. Inside, entrance hall, living room with a large front window, kitchen diner at the back with French doors onto the deck, 2 ground floor bedrooms, a family bathroom. Upstairs, the 3rd bedroom under the roof, with fitted storage built into the eaves and a dormer window that gives it more light than a room this shape usually manages. Gas central heating, double glazing, a boiler replaced in 2021. Wigan railway station is 12 minutes by car and puts Manchester Piccadilly 20 minutes away by train. The town has a hospital, a college, a leisure centre, and the canal. The asking price is £41,000 for a chalet bungalow on a corner plot with gardens on 2 sides, 3 bedrooms, French doors onto a deck, and a train to Manchester in 20 minutes. The pier is a heritage attraction now. The house is £41,000. Number 4, Haslingden, Lancashire, £52,000. Haslingden sits on a ridge above the Rochdale Valley, higher than Bacup to the east and with longer views, on a clear day north to Pendle Hill and south toward the distant outline of the Cheshire Plain. The town is small, around 8,000 people, with the particular character of a place that has been above the valley floor long enough to develop its own distinct identity from the towns below it. The property is something unusual for this list, a detached dormer bungalow that was extended and converted in the 1990s into a property that functions as a full 2-story house while retaining the original bungalow's ground floor bedroom, which makes it work for households that need sleeping accommodation on 1 level. The bedrooms in total, 1 on the ground floor, 3 upstairs in the converted roof space with full-height ceilings throughout thanks to a substantial rear dormer that runs the full width of the house. The plot is what distinguishes this property from everything around it. The house sits on a corner, which gives it a garden that wraps on 3 sides, front, side, and rear, with the rear garden being the most substantial, 100 feet long, partly lawned and partly given over to a kitchen garden that a previous owner clearly took seriously, with raised beds, a greenhouse frame, and a compost area in the far corner. A detached garage with power and light sits at the end of the driveway. Inside, ground floor living room, kitchen diner, utility room, 1 bedroom, shower room, first floor, 3 further bedrooms, all doubles, and a family bathroom. Gas central heating, double glazing, a kitchen fitted in 2019 with quartz worktops and integrated appliances. Rochdale is 4 miles south and has the Metrolink terminus. Manchester is 40 minutes by tram from there. The price is £52,000 for a 4-bedroom detached property on a corner plot with a wraparound garden, a greenhouse, a garage, and a kitchen with quartz worktops. 40 minutes from Manchester by tram. The views from the upstairs windows take in 3 counties on a clear day. The price is £52,000. Number 5. Leigh, Greater Manchester. £38,000. Leigh sits between Wigan and Manchester, equidistant from both, in the flat former coalfield landscape of West Greater Manchester. The town has 60,000 people, a market, a hospital, a rugby league club with a history going back to 1878, and the particular quality of a place that has always been overlooked in favour of the larger towns on either side of it. That overlooked quality is precisely why a detached house here costs £38,000. The property is a detached detached house, a house that shares no walls with its neighbours but is connected at one corner by a garage structure, which means it functions in every practical sense as a fully detached property while technically being described as detached on some listings. For the purposes of what matters, no shared walls, no shared garden, your own front door and your own space, this house is detached. 3 bedrooms. Built in 1965. Brick, a tiled roof, a driveway at the side providing parking for 2 cars and access to the integral garage. A front garden with a low wall and a privet hedge. At the back, a garden of 50 feet by 25, southwest facing, which means it catches the afternoon and evening sun, with a patio outside the back door and a lawn running to a panel fence at the far end. Inside, hall, living room with a large rear window overlooking the garden, kitchen at the back with a door to the garden. Upstairs, 3 bedrooms, 2 doubles and a single, and a bathroom. The bathroom was refitted in 2020. The kitchen is older but fully functional. Gas central heating, double glazing, a combi boiler 2 years old. Manchester city centre is 14 miles east, about 25 minutes by car or 40 minutes on the bus. Leigh has its own bus connections running into Manchester regularly. The asking price is £38,000 for a detached house with a garage, a southwest-facing garden, a new bathroom, and a combi boiler 2 years old, 14 miles from Manchester city centre. The rugby club has been here since 1878. The house is £38,000. Number 6. Todmorden, West Yorkshire, £63,000. Todmorden sits on the boundary between Lancashire and Yorkshire. The county line runs through the middle of the town hall, which means the building is technically in 2 counties simultaneously, a fact that Todmorden mentions with considerable satisfaction. The Calder Valley here is steep and narrow, with the town sitting on the valley floor and the moorland climbing sharply on both sides. The Rochdale Canal runs through the town centre. The railway connects it to Manchester in 30 minutes and to Leeds in 40. The town has been attracting a particular kind of resident for the last 20 years, artists, smallholders, people working remotely who want the countryside close and the cities accessible, and the food market on Fridays and Saturdays reflects that. Todmorden is not a struggling post-industrial town. It is a post-industrial town that has found a new identity and is comfortable in it. The property is a stone-built detached house on a private lane off the main road through the valley, set back behind a 5-bar wooden gate that opens onto a gravel driveway. Not a farm, a house, for bedrooms, 2 stories, but with the land and the gate and the private lane that would once have been associated with a farm. The lane is shared with one other property, which is not visible from this house. At the front, the gravel driveway with parking for 4 cars and a turning area. At the back, a garden of 140 feet, the longest garden on this list, running uphill slightly toward the back boundary where a dry stone wall marks the edge of the property and the open moorland begins immediately beyond it. Lawn, a fruit cage containing established blackcurrant and gooseberry bushes, a vegetable plot on the left side, and a stone outbuilding at the far right corner of the garden with a timber roof and a power connection. Inside, a hallway opening into a sitting room with a wood-burning stove in a stone fireplace, a separate dining room, a kitchen at the back with a Belfast sink and a door onto the garden. Upstairs, for bedrooms, the master with views up the valley toward the moors, and a family bathroom with a roll-top bath. Oil central heating, double glazing in timber frames, a roof reslated in 2020. A Rayburn in the kitchen provides additional heat and hot water in winter. The price is £63,000 for a 4-bedroom stone house on a private lane with a 5-bar gate, a 140-foot garden backing onto moorland, a roll-top bath, a Rayburn, and a 30-minute train to Manchester. Todmorden straddles 2 counties. The house is on the Lancashire side. The price is £63,000. Number 7, Oldham, Greater Manchester, £29,000. Oldham is 7 miles northeast of Manchester city centre and is connected to it by the Metrolink tram network, which means you can stand in the centre of Oldham and be in the centre of Manchester in 22 minutes without getting in a car. The town has 140,000 people, a hospital, a college, a theatre, and a covered market. It is not a village. It is not remote. It is a town of significant size connected to one of the largest cities in England by a tram that runs every 12 minutes. The property is a detached bungalow, a true single-story bungalow, everything on one floor, on a residential street in the eastern part of town. 2 bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, a bathroom, all on the same level. The kind of house that works for anyone who does not want stairs as a permanent feature of daily life. What makes this property the one that stops the scrolling is the plot. The bungalow sits on a corner, the corner of 2 residential streets, which gives it a garden that wraps on 3 sides. Front garden behind a low fence. Side garden enclosed by a panel fence with a gate. Rear garden of 60 feet by 30, fully enclosed, with a patio outside the back door, a lawn, and a timber shed. Inside, hall, living room with a front bay window, kitchen at the back with a door to the garden, 2 bedrooms both facing the garden, bathroom, gas central heating, double glazing, a boiler that was serviced last year. Nothing needs doing. The decoration is neutral throughout. The Metrolink stop is 8 minutes walk. Manchester city centre is 22 minutes by tram. The asking price is £29,000. For a detached bungalow on a corner plot with a wraparound garden, 8 minutes walk from a tram stop, 22 minutes from Manchester city centre. The tram runs every 12 minutes. The bungalow is £29,000. Number 8, Ramsbottom, Greater Manchester, £84,000. The highest price on this list, and the one that requires the least explanation for why it is still on this list at all. Ramsbottom is 16 miles north of Manchester in the Irwell Valley and has, over the last 30 years, become one of the most sought-after small towns in Greater Manchester. The independent food scene, restaurants, delis, a chocolate festival that draws visitors from across the north, gives the town a character that is genuinely unusual for its size. The East Lancashire Railway, a heritage steam railway, runs from Ramsbottom to Bury and back, and on summer weekends the platform fills with families and enthusiasts, and the smell of coal smoke and the particular noise of a steam locomotive building pressure before departure. The property is a detached Victorian cottage, smaller than a house, more substantial than the word cottage usually implies, on a quiet lane on the eastern edge of town where the houses thin out and the hills begin. 2 stories, stone construction, a slate roof that was inspected and passed without comment 2 years ago. At the front, a small courtyard garden enclosed by a stone wall with a wooden gate. At the back, a terraced garden built into the hillside, 2 levels, the lower one paved with Yorkshire stone slabs, the upper one a lawn with a dry stone retaining wall between the 2 levels and views across the valley from the upper tier. Inside, a living room with a wood-burning stove in the original stone fireplace, a dining kitchen with a Belfast sink and exposed stone walls, a utility room at the back. Upstairs, 2 double bedrooms, a bathroom with a freestanding bath, oil central heating, double glazing in timber frames. The kitchen was refitted 5 years ago with shaker-style units and a granite worktop. The price is £84,000 because Ramsbottom's popularity has pushed even its lower end of the market above where the other towns on this list sit. The chocolate festival is real. The steam railway is real. The stone walls and the freestanding bath and the terraced garden with valley views are all real. And £84,000 for all of that, 16 miles from Manchester, is still a number that belongs on this list. Number 9, Radcliffe, Greater Manchester, £32,000. Radcliffe sits between Bury and Bolton in the flat former coalfield landscape of North Greater Manchester, connected to both by road and to Manchester city centre by the Metrolink, which stops at Radcliffe tram stop and puts the city centre 30 minutes away. The town has 30,000 people, a market, a leisure centre, and the River Irwell running through its southern edge. It is not a destination. It is a place where people live and from which they go to other places, and its prices reflect that function honestly. The property is a detached house on a residential street in the western part of town, a 1930s semi-detached house that was converted into a fully detached property in the 1970s when the connecting garage was demolished and the gap between the two houses was filled with a side extension that gave this property a utility room and a downstairs bathroom while removing any shared structure with the house next door. It is now fully detached. It has been fully detached for 50 years. 3 bedrooms upstairs, downstairs, hall, living room with a bay window, dining room, kitchen, utility room, downstairs bathroom. The downstairs bathroom, an unusual feature in a house this size, means the property functions well for households that need ground floor washing facilities. The garden at the front is small, a path and a low hedge. The garden at the back is more generous, 70 feet by 25, enclosed by a timber fence, with a patio outside the back door, a lawn, and a timber shed that has power connected to it from the house. Gas central heating, double glazing throughout, a combi boiler installed in 2023, one of the newest boilers on this list. The kitchen needs updating. Everything else is in order. Metrolink to Manchester city centre, 30 minutes. Bury is 3 miles north. Bolton is 4 miles west. The asking price is £32,000 for a fully detached house with 3 bedrooms, a downstairs bathroom, a 70-foot garden, a powered shed, and a boiler installed in 2023, 30 minutes from Manchester city centre by tram. The detached conversion happened 50 years ago. The boiler is 2 years old. The price is £32,000. Number 10. Mossley, Greater Manchester, £57,000. This is the one that has been on the market for 19 months. And the reason nobody has bought it yet is not the price, not the condition, not the location, and not the house itself. The reason is a single line in the listing that most buyers read and immediately move on from. It is currently tenanted. There is a tenant in this house. The tenant has been there for 6 years, pays the rent on time every month without exception, and has no intention of leaving, which means that anyone who buys this property at £57,000 is buying a house with a sitting tenant, which is an excellent investment for someone who wants a tenanted property and an immediate complication for anyone who wants to live in it themselves. The tenant situation is the reason the price is £57,000 instead of the £95,000 that comparable properties in Mossley without tenants have sold for in the last 18 months. The house is being sold at a discount of nearly £40,000 because of one word, tenanted. That discount is available to the right buyer. The house itself, a 3-bedroom detached stone cottage on the edge of Mossley, where the town gives way to the moors and the Pennin Way footpath passes within half a mile. Stone walls, a slate roof, a chimney with 2 pots, a front garden behind a dry stone wall, currently the tenant's garden, tended with evident care, with established rose bushes along the front wall and a lavender border along the path. At the back, a garden of 70 feet, also tended, with a vegetable patch at the far end and a stone outbuilding that houses a freezer and garden tools. Inside, a living room with a stone fireplace and a wood-burning stove, a dining kitchen at the back, 3 bedrooms upstairs, a bathroom, oil central heating, double glazing. The property has been maintained throughout the tenancy and is in excellent condition. Mossley railway station, 15 minutes walk from the cottage, puts Manchester Piccadilly 30 minutes away. Stalybridge is 2 miles south. Oldham is 4 miles west. The asking price is £57,000 for a 3-bedroom detached stone cottage on the edge of the Pennines, 30 minutes from Manchester by train, with a sitting tenant who pays on time and has been there for 6 years. The 19 months on the market have nothing to do with the house. They have everything to do with one word in the listing. The right buyer sees that word and understands that £38,000 of discount is sitting inside it. The price is £57,000. 10